The galaxy had never seen anything like the Xi-4 Dominion. Ships that glimmered like living metal moved through the void with terrifying precision, leaving destroyed worlds in their wake. Entire star systems fell in days, their inhabitants either enslaved or annihilated. To the Xi-4, victory was not just expected, it was inevitable. No species, no matter how clever, had ever slowed their advance. In their massive command ship, the Xi-4 Ascendant, Admiral Threx gazed at the holographic map of the conquered systems. A green dot flickered far in the distance. A small, blue planet. Earth. Threx's multifaceted eyes glimmered with amusement. Humans? He hissed, a sound more like static than speech. Pathetic. Primitive. They cannot even reach the stars. Why bother? Scouts report minimal defenses, said Lieutenant Krill, the Admiral's second-in-command. A small fleet of research vessels orbiting Mars. That is all. Exactly, Threx purred. This species is still crawling in the dark, while we dominate the galaxy. Soon, they will kneel like the rest. And yet, far away from Xi-4's confidence, humanity was quietly preparing. On Mars, the red dust stretched endlessly under the cold glare of the sun. Massive structures of steel and glass jutted from the planet's surface, gleaming with the hum of human engineering. The colonies of the outer planets had grown, and humanity had learned one simple truth. The galaxy was not safe, and they could no longer rely on luck or isolation. Inside a hangar, the USS Intrepid rested, its hull polished and gleaming, engines idle but humming faintly with stored energy. Captain Elena Ramirez strode along the deck, her boots clanging softly against metal. She paused at the bridge entrance, looking up at the massive viewport. Mars hung like a pale red jewel below. "Status report," she ordered. Lieutenant Jonah Lee, young but brilliant in tactics, tapped the holographic interface in front of him. "All systems nominal, Captain. Engines at 70% readiness. Weapons calibrated. Shields operational. Sensors are detecting some unusual readings near the outer colonies." "Unusual how?" Ramirez asked, narrowing her eyes. Lee hesitated. "I don't want to alarm you, ma'am, but these readings suggest a large fleet moving fast. We've never seen anything like it." Elena's heart skipped a beat. She had trained for emergencies like this, but the tension in the room was palpable. "Show me." The holographic display shifted. Across the empty black of space, dozens of ships appeared, moving in perfect formation. Sleek, dark, alien, and massive. Their sheer size and number made human vessels look like toys. "Is that real?" whispered Ensign Dara, a communication officer. "Yes," Ramirez said quietly, her mind racing. The bridge went silent. No one spoke. The human fleet that had quietly patrolled the outer systems was small, designed for reconnaissance and defense, not full-scale warfare. And yet, staring at those alien ships, Ramirez felt a surge of something fierce and stubborn. Humans had survived worse. Humans had adapted to worse. "Prepare for intercept," she finally said. "I want Intrepid ready to engage. Get me weapons on standby, shields at maximum, and all personnel at battle stations. We don't know what they plan, but we're not going to wait to find out." As the crew moved with precision, Ramirez allowed herself a brief glance at the viewport. The aliens were fast, almost impossibly so. But humans had one thing Xi-4 didn't understand: unpredictability. Back in Xi-4 space, Admiral Threx issued orders with effortless authority. "Deploy the Vanguard," he commanded. "They are to secure the outer colonies and prepare for the main fleet's arrival. Sweep any resistance aside." The Vanguard responded instantly. Thousands of smaller ships slipped from the mothership, like a swarm of metallic predators. Their target, the human colonies on Mars. "Captain Threx," Krill said, his voice a mixture of excitement and fear, "do you think we should send a warning?" Threx laughed. It was a low, grinding sound. "A warning? To humans? They are ants to us. There is no need. Observation only wastes time. We strike, they fall. End of story. And yet, somewhere deep in the shadows of space, a small signal reached Earth, a signal that would change everything. Human sensors had detected the approaching fleet, their readings marking the beginning of humanity's first real battle in the stars. On the USS Intrepid, the atmosphere was tense but focused. Crew members moved with precise purpose, running checks, preparing weapons, and monitoring sensors. Ramirez knew that every decision she made in the next hours could mean life or death, not just for herself, but for billions of humans across the solar system. Lee approached her console. "Captain, the aliens have detected us." Ramirez turned sharply. "And? They're reacting. They're laughing." Elena raised an eyebrow. "Laughing?" Lee nodded. "On the sensors. They don't even recognize us as a threat. Their communications are filled with mockery. They're confident we will surrender or die quickly." Ramirez clenched her fists. Humans had been underestimated countless times in history. Every time, humans had found a way to survive. Every time, humans had found a way to turn the impossible into victory. "Good," she said. "Let them laugh. Let them underestimate us. We'll see who laughs last." As the vanguard of the SATA-III fleet closed in on Mars, tension gripped both sides. The aliens, used to worlds surrendering without resistance, saw only a few human warships. Insignificant and slow. To them, this would be the easiest conquest in their history. But humans never played by the same rules. The first warning came as a pulse of energy from USS Intrepid. A small drone launched, weaving through the vanguard formation, its trajectory unpredictable. It exploded near an alien frigate, disabling its engines in a flash. The aliens paused, momentarily stunned. Threx's many eyes blinked in irritation. "A human? A small vessel? Has disabled one of ours?" He growled. "Impossible." The humans continued to maneuver with bold unpredictability. They used the asteroid fields around Mars as cover, darting in and out, striking at supply vessels, and confusing the vanguard. For every alien ship the humans damaged, the SATA-III fired back, but the sheer ingenuity and risk-taking of the humans kept them just out of reach. On the bridge, Ramirez grinned slightly. "They don't know what's coming. They think we're weak. They think we'll surrender." She turned to Lee. "Prepare the main battery. If they come closer, we'll show them just how wrong they are." The aliens had never encountered a species like humans, reckless, cunning, brave, and unpredictable. Every tactical advantage they had was neutralized by the audacity of humanity. And then, as night fell over the Martian colonies, a shadow crossed the horizon. The human crew of USS Intrepid didn't yet know it. But the real test was about to begin. SATA-III Dominion's arrogance was legendary. But it was about to meet a species that refused to bow. The first shots had been fired, and humanity was ready to answer with everything it had. The galaxy would never be the same again. The USS Intrepid floated in the cold void above Mars, engines humming quietly as if the ship itself were holding its breath. Below, the Martian colonies were tense but calm. Shelters and defense systems ready in case the SATA-III Dominion's vanguard attempted a direct strike. Humanity had faced threats before. But nothing like this, nothing on this scale. Captain Elena Ramirez stood on the bridge, her hands resting lightly on the rail, eyes fixed on the blips of movement across the holographic display. The SATA-III fleet was immense. Ships moved like a single organism, coordinated and unyielding. But the humans had something SATA-III had never accounted for. Unpredictability. Lieutenant Jonah Lee tapped his console rapidly. "Captain, they're advancing toward the outer colonies, but they're still keeping formation. Sensors show minimal evasive maneuvers. They think they can crush us easily." Ramirez's lips curved in a grim smile. "Good. Then we'll teach them what humans can do when underestimated." The first clash began with a blur of motion. Small human drones darted between the massive alien frigates, weaving in unpredictable patterns. SATA-III weapons fired, enormous energy beams tearing through space, but the drones moved too fast, too erratically. Several frigates were damaged in the opening minutes, and panic rippled through the vanguard's ranks. Admiral Threx's multifaceted eyes narrowed. Impossible. These humans, they fight differently. They do not fear. They do not hesitate. Strike harder. The Vanguard responded with brutal force. Lasers sliced past asteroids and debris, aimed to obliterate the human ship. The Intrepid executed daring maneuvers, dipping into the gravitational pull of Phobos and Deimos to dodge fire. Human engineers worked frantically, recalibrating shields in real time as hull sensors registered impacts. "Shields holding at 70%, said Chief Engineer Sato, sweat running down his forehead. "We can take more, but not much longer." "Keep them busy," Ramirez said calmly. "I don't want to waste the main battery yet. Wait for the right moment." Meanwhile, the Zyphor ships were confused and frustrated. Every tactic they tried failed. Their rigid formations and predictable attack patterns were no match for human ingenuity. In one bold move, Intrepid used the Martian moon Phobos as cover, disappearing from sensors only to reappear behind the alien rear guard. Several Zyphor ships were crippled before they even knew what had happened. "It's like they're everywhere at once," Kryl growled in frustration from the Zyphor command deck. "They anticipate our moves before we even make them." Threx banged a clawed fist against the control panel. "Do not underestimate humans. They are primitive, but clever. Find their leader. Destroy it." On the Intrepid, Ramirez gave the order. "All batteries. Target the largest frigate. Fire on my mark." And Jonah prepare to disengage if necessary. We hit hard, then vanish before they can counterattack. The ship trembled as energy surged into the main cannon. The human warship, though smaller, had power concentrated in ways Zyphor had not expected. Ramirez pressed the button, and a beam of pure blue energy tore through the void, striking the alien frigate. The ship shuddered, then exploded, sending fragments tumbling through space. The bridge erupted in cheers, but Ramirez held up a hand. "Not over yet. Stay sharp." Even as humans celebrated their first victory, the Zyphor fleet regrouped. Their strategy shifted from arrogant dominance to careful caution. The Vanguard now approached with greater vigilance, scanning every shadow, anticipating human moves, but humans thrived in chaos. Hours passed in a blur of battle. Human ingenuity shone in every engagement. When Zyphor ships attempted to encircle Intrepid, Ramirez executed maneuvers no alien commander had predicted. She used debris fields, solar flares, and even the magnetic storms of Mars as weapons against the aliens. Every move was risky, but human courage was unmatched. "Captain, energy levels dropping," Lee warned. "If we sustain another direct hit, shields might fail." Ramirez nodded. "Then we draw them into a trap. Initiate evasive patterns and lure them toward the asteroid belt." The Zyphor followed, convinced that human ships would be cornered and easy prey. But as they entered the belt, massive chunks of rock suddenly became weapons. Intrepid and its drones darted through narrow gaps, while alien ships struggled to navigate the field. Several collided with asteroids, or were struck by debris, their shields unable to handle the unexpected assault. The first true turning point came when Zyphor deployed their ultimate weapon, a massive energy cannon, capable of obliterating an entire colony in a single blast. Its beam slashed across space, incinerating asteroids and leaving nothing but vapor in its path. Ramirez's eyes narrowed. "That's no ordinary weapon. If it hits us or Mars, the colonies are gone. Prepare countermeasures." Engineering teams worked frantically, rerouting power to shields and overloading them for temporary bursts. The Intrepid zigzagged, dodging with impossible agility. The beam missed by mere kilometers, scorching the Martian surface, leaving deep craters in its wake. "Captain, we can't keep dodging forever," Lee said, fear creeping into his usually calm voice. "Then we fight," Ramirez said. "Prepare to fire on my mark. We are humans. We adapt. We survive. And we strike back." With precision timing, Intrepid fired a coordinated volley of energy and drones directly at the weapon's power source. The beam faltered, sputtered, then exploded in a massive flash, sending a shockwave through the SATA-III fleet. Several ships were disabled. The humans had survived the impossible. The SATA-III were stunned. No species had ever destroyed one of their ultimate weapons in battle. Confusion and fear rippled through their ranks. Threx's many eyes widened. They are stronger than we anticipated, Creel admitted. We must retreat and call the main fleet. No, Threx roared. We finish this now. Humans must not survive to tell others of our weakness. But even as he ordered full-scale attacks, human ingenuity and audacity continued to dominate. Intrepid moved with impossible speed, striking key points of the alien formation, and then disappearing. Each strike was precise, calculated, and deadly. Humans had turned their small size into an advantage, outmaneuvering a far larger, more powerful enemy. By the end of the first day, the battle had shifted from domination to survival for the SATA-III. The aliens, accustomed to fear-based victories, could not comprehend a species that fought with courage, cunning, and teamwork. Every human action seemed random but was calculated. Every human strike inspired defiance, not fear. On the bridge of Intrepid, Ramirez finally allowed herself a moment to breathe. They thought they could conquer us in hours, she said softly. They have no idea who they are dealing with. Lee smiled, exhausted but proud. We're showing them what humans can do. They won't forget this day. Even as the Intrepid repaired minor damage and prepared for the next engagement, the crew understood a truth that SATA-III could not fathom. Humans were not predictable. Humans were not weak. And humans never gave up. As the alien vanguard retreated slightly to regroup, Ramirez addressed her crew. Today, we held them off. We did more than survive. We proved a point. The galaxy is not theirs to take. Humanity fights for every star, and we will not yield. Tomorrow, we strike again. The crew cheered quietly. They knew the next day could be even harder, that the full fleet might arrive. But for now, humanity had won a small, but critical victory. The galaxy had just begun to see the truth. Underestimating humans was a grave mistake. In the distance, the SATA-III Dominion's main fleet loomed, vast and terrifying. But the USS Intrepid had survived the first encounter, and humans were ready to show that courage, intelligence, and determination could stand against the mightiest force the galaxy had ever known. The stars above Mars shimmered with quiet promise. And in the heart of the Intrepid, humanity's defiance burned brighter than any weapon. A spark that could not be extinguished. The morning light of Mars was pale, casting long shadows over the battered colonies. Smoke and dust from the first day's battle still hung in the thin Martian air. The USS Intrepid floated above, scarred but operational, its crew moving with quiet determination. Captain Elena Ramirez stood on the bridge, staring at the distant stars. The SATA-III vanguard had been pushed back, but the main fleet loomed beyond the edges of human sensors. Thousands of alien ships, more powerful than anything humanity had faced, waited. But the first encounter had proven something critical. Humans could fight. Humans could survive. Humans could win. Lieutenant Jonah Lee broke the silence. Captain, sensor readings indicate the main fleet is mobilizing. They're larger than anything we've seen. I estimate at least 10 times the number of vessels we engaged yesterday. Ramirez nodded, her expression calm. Good. Let them come. We've been ready for this moment for years. Humanity does not back down. The SATA-III Dominion advanced in full force. Their arrogance had not faltered, if anything, it had grown. They believed their size and power would overwhelm the humans, that the scattered colonies and a single warship were no threat. But humans had a secret advantage the aliens could not see. Preparation and cunning. From hidden bases beyond the outer planets, humanity's true fleet began to move. Hundreds of advanced warships, drones, and AI-controlled vessels emerged from behind asteroids, gas clouds, and decoy fleets. Humans had been silent watchers of the galaxy, building strength in shadows while SATA-III assumed the galaxy would always bow. Ramirez smiled as the fleet gathered on the sensors. It's time, she said. Signal all human ships. We strike together. The first clash was sudden and overwhelming. Human fleets erupted from hiding places, their numbers and coordination striking fear into the Xi-4 vanguard. The aliens were trained for obedience, for taking advantage of fear, but humans had neither fear nor hesitation. They fought with creativity, improvisation, and sheer audacity. The USS Intrepid led the charge, darting through enemy lines, drawing fire while drones disabled key systems on alien capital ships. Explosions lit the void as human and alien weapons collided. The Xi-4 were powerful, but humans were relentless. "We're outnumbered," one officer shouted. "And underestimated," Ramirez shot back. "That's the difference." The Xi-4 tried to regroup, but human tactics were unpredictable. Using asteroid fields, magnetic storms, and even the gravity of nearby moons, humans turned environmental hazards into weapons. Ships that had never expected resistance were suddenly crippled, their crews scrambling to survive. Admiral Threx's fury grew with each setback. "These humans, they are not like other species. They adapt too fast. They anticipate. They fight." His voice hissed in frustration. "I underestimated them. I must end this, personally." Threx's massive command ship, the Xi-4 Ascendant, moved into the center of the battlefield. Its energy weapons charged, glowing bright against the darkness of space. The aliens believed their leader's presence would crush the humans' morale, but humans did not rely on morale alone. They relied on ingenuity. Ramirez made her decision. "We hit their leader," she said calmly. "If we take out the Ascendant, the rest will falter." Lee frowned. "It's suicidal. That ship could destroy us in an instant." "Then we do it the human way," Ramirez replied. "Clever, bold, unpredictable." The Intrepid launched a series of small but high-speed drones toward the Ascendant, while the main fleet distracted the alien forces. Human ships split and weaved, striking from unexpected angles. The Ascendant fired relentlessly, but human shields and maneuvers kept the Intrepid just out of lethal range. Inside the human command bridge, every crew member worked at peak focus. Engineers rerouted power, weapons teams synchronized attacks, and drone pilots executed near-impossible trajectories. The Intrepid was a single point of precision in a storm of chaos, a symbol of humanity's audacity and skill. As the drones reached the Ascendant, they detonated in coordinated blasts, creating openings for energy strikes from the Intrepid. The alien flagship shuddered as energy shields failed in sections. Sparks and fragments exploded into space, debris scattering like stars falling. "Keep firing," Ramirez shouted. "We are not done yet." The Ascendant faltered, its energy weapons stuttering. The alien fleet hesitated. Confused by the sudden vulnerability of their leader, humans pressed the advantage, targeting weak points and exploiting gaps with unrelenting precision. For hours, the battle raged. The Xi-4 fleet had immense power, but they lacked the creativity and adaptability of humans. Every human maneuver was unpredictable, every strike calculated yet seemingly spontaneous. The aliens, accustomed to fear and surrender, could not comprehend such determination. Gradually, the tide turned. Alien ships began to fall or retreat under the relentless assault. Human losses were real, but morale remained high. The Intrepid, scarred and battered, continued to lead with boldness, striking fear into the hearts of the Xi-4. At last, Admiral Threx realized the battle was lost. His pride and arrogance had failed against a species he had dismissed as primitive. "Fall back," he ordered, voice trembling with rage and disbelief. We cannot fight them. Regroup and withdraw." The human fleet did not pursue. Ramirez knew Xi-4 would live to fight another day, but the point had been made. Humanity had survived. Humanity had fought. Humanity had won. On the bridge of the Intrepid, the crew cheered quietly. Ramirez allowed herself a small smile. "The galaxy will remember this day," she said. "We fought with courage, skill, and heart. And they will never underestimate humans again." As the Xi-4 retreated into the depths of space, Damaged and humiliated, humans turned their attention to rebuilding and preparing for the future. The outer colonies cheered, their faith in humanity reaffirmed. They had survived the impossible, and they had done so through teamwork, ingenuity, and the refusal to give in. In orbit above Mars, the USS Intrepid drifted silently. Ramirez gazed at the distant stars. "This is only the beginning," she said softly. "Humanity has proven itself. We will protect our worlds, explore the galaxy, and show every species that humans are not to be underestimated." Lee looked at her and nodded. "The galaxy has seen our strength, and they will respect it." The stars above shimmered, endless and full of promise. Humanity had fought its first true galactic battle and emerged victorious. They had shown courage, intelligence, and resilience. The SATA-III had assumed humans would bend, submit, or die. They had been wrong, dead wrong, and humanity was only beginning to rise. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Underestimating humans came at a price, and the price had been paid in full. For the USS Intrepid and its brave crew, the battle was over, but the legend of human courage had only just begun.